The principles of natural justice are the basis on which all of our laws, our human rights, our civil rights, our constitutional rights, and our employee rights are all based on the principles of natural justice, which is why it's so important that we know what they are. And as we go through these, I want you to think of the employees that report to you, and I also want you to think of people in your family, especially people that are younger than you and people that you are in a position of authority over for some reason in the family. Because we get authority and we get power from different things, as we've noticed. So think of both of those as we go through, because when we have problems in terms of civil unrest, and when we have problems in relation to industrial action, it's almost always because of the principles of natural justice have been breached. The principles of natural justice are those principles on which all of our human rights, our civil rights, and certainly employment rights are based on. We start off with the most important and the most fundamental one, and that is that anyone who is accused of any kind of offense which could lead to disciplinary action or some sort of punitive action must have the right to speak in their own defense. You never start a discussion with someone who you think has committed an offense by accusing them of something. You always start with a question by saying, what happened? And this is just as important if you are offended in some way by something somebody has done. You must always remember that the most important thing is to let them give their side of the story. There have to be certain processes that have to be respected in order to ensure what you call the integrity of the process. First of all, people have to know what they're being accused of. And one of the things that came out of a recent controversy about the Integrity Commission, I don't know if you remember, is that the Integrity Commission has either had the power or taken the power to go to somebody, to go into their house, to look at their records, to go into their office, and they haven't told the person what they're looking for or what they're accused of. That is contrary to the principles of natural justice. You don't just say to somebody, Azar, you know what you did. Everybody has a guilty conscience, eh? And I know that people sometimes use this in a manipulative way. And also little things like when you say, okay, I want you to explain, you should give them time. Give them time to prepare. The more serious the allegation is, the more time you have to give them to prepare and to make sure that that they have a chance to present evidence to clear themselves. And one of the things which is built into the legislation, to the Industrial Relations Act, is also that if the person wants to have representation, that you should let them have representation. In other words, if they want to bring their shop steward with them, some people just aren't very good at explaining things. And a lot of, especially new employees, especially young employees, might want to have someone go along with them just for moral support. That is something which is respected by the rules of natural justice. Now, in an instance where somebody has made an allegation against someone else, like misappropriation of company property or theft or something to that extent, that kind of thing, normally, under normal conditions, you should give the person who is being accused a chance to meet the accuser face to face. In other words, if I am accusing you about something and I am going to Sheldon, who is our manager, Sheldon should have the right to say, okay, Diana, sit down here, I'm going to call him in and I want you to say this to his face. Now there are times when you don't do that. The times when you wouldn't do that is we have to accept that we live in Trinidad. And we have had a lot of instances. I had to deal with one a couple of months ago where somebody was accusing somebody else of dishonesty in the organization. And when the suggestion was made, okay, well, let's call him in and I want you to say that to his face, they couldn't do it, because if the guy had said it to his face, he might have been there might have been a security issue. Now, one of the other principles that you'll see there is that the person who, if it is a serious offense like theft or lack of confidentiality, telling company's business to a competitor, if you are the one who is making the accusation, you should not be the one who does the inquiry or who is the one who is going to make the final decision. Think about it in a domestic situation. If one brother, his older brother is accusing younger brother of having done something, why should they messed up his bicycle, ruined his car, whatever? Why should he not be the one to make the inquiry? Yeah, because he could be biased and emotion gets in the way. And if you can work up at work, if somebody can work up enough energy to make an accusation, they're going to be emotionally involved. So somebody else should say, okay, we'll look into it, and the supervisor should organize that and see what has happened and talk to, I don't know, any witnesses, and then either they would make the decision or a manager would make the decision.